Okay, are we ready? I'm excited. And I just want to let everyone know that when we do these, we don't do a whole lot of scripting or planning. We are still in a little bit of an ad lib stage of this, but in a way, it's kind of more fun because it allows us to really be very creative in what we're doing. So I am excited because we're going to do like a workshop, which is basically like how it would be if you were to, sign up with us and we would manage your profile. One of the first things we would do is take your profiles that you currently have and redo everything on there so that it really hones in on the message that you are wanting to send out. And a lot of people just kind of feel like that a dating app bio or a bio anywhere really is almost like a sales pitch, or is a demonstration of who they are so that they're attractive enough to somebody. So somebody goes, oh, I want to date them, right? Like we try to do that, bar hookup in a bar thing over an app. And while I guess that is a way to look at it, I'm curious what you think about this, Jillian. I think of it more as, an opportunity to know what you're wanting and put it out there a little bit more like a wanted ad, but or like a sales ad in a way. Like I know it sounds similar, but it's different. Anyway, so what we do is we really get to know the person that we're talking to, and then we hone in on what are the things that they're really, really wanting, what are the things they're not wanting, and how do we make the bio portray who they are in a way that allows the other person to connect with it and see themselves in it. Because it's not about just like making it so cute or funny or attractive. It's about allowing someone else to be like, oh, I could see myself with them, or oh, I feel that, So that is the art to creating a good bio. And our favorite way is to use the prompts, and there's amazing prompts, right? Like doesn't Bumble and Hinge, don't they both have like 50 prompts each that you can choose from? Yeah. And so it's really about getting clear on what you want, and then getting kind of creative, using pretty much any prompt. You can make any prompt fun and interesting and, twofold, deliver and tell, right? Ask and tell type of thing. Yeah. What do you think about what I just said about it being a sales pitch or not?
Yeah, I like the the wanted ads, right? I think those are the personal ads. I think they're great. And that is, I've never looked at it that way, and I like it because yeah, this is your personal ad, right?
Yeah.
What are you looking for, and sharing a bit, of who you are, and there's so many fun ways to do it. Uh I think, at at the beginning of kind of doing one of these workshops, I did a little bit with ChatGPT for some clients, and I have since stayed away from that now. I found it a better exercise to just pull out the information from them and then wordsmith it, right? So
Yeah.
what I've found is it's very hard to get people to tell you what's interesting or unique about themselves, and those are, or quirky, all of those things are really endearing. So I think that's kind of the point of the workshop today is giving examples of what others have done, or that start
Yeah.
to go, that make your mind think, what am I made up of?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. One of our favorite ones, it was early on too, is Jillian was working with a client, and he's a very simple guy. He kind of does his thing, simple, simple, simple. But then we noticed that he was always going to record shops and shopping. And we were like, wait, what's going on with that? And he's like, oh yeah, I have this, amazing, or this, he didn't even say amazing. He didn't think it was amazing. I have a huge vinyl record collection. And we were like, wow, that's cool. You know, he's in his late 50s. And as soon as we added something about the vinyl record collection, bam, people were like, I have vinyl. Like, that's cool. I wish I collected vinyl, right? Like, that really like spoke to people his age. And it says a lot about you. It says you're much deeper than, I don't know, Spotify, I guess.
Yeah.
Even though no offense on Spotify, but it just adds that little layer where it's really hard to see that that's an interesting thing about yourself, especially if it's just a hobby. It's not a bragging point, right? But noticing that that's something that other people can connect with, right? So that was a little simple thing that took some digging and we pulled out, and it worked really well. Okay, so I think for today, we were going to take like one or two, and maybe it's even just one prompt, and then apply it to like 3 or 4 different people. And these people could be, I think it might be fun to just do like somebody that we know, like my husband or your husband, or, an aunt or something, like somebody we know or a friend that we both know, and create the prompt, answer it like we're answering for them. What do you think about that? Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. What's your
hard? It sounds challenging.
Next time we'll prepare.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the point, right? Is to let people know that it is not easy. You do have to really put some thought into it, and you do have to tweak it. You and I both have example online profiles, and I just changed a prompt yesterday for fun based on someone else's I saw, that rang true for me. I was helping a girlfriend set up hers, and everything I was telling her that would make a great profile, she didn't resonate with. It wasn't her. She wanted to, she saw a gentleman's that she's like, I like his, and we stole it and used it in hers. So a lot of this is also, right, you can go through the matches and you can start to see what other people have created, and that will also start going, oh, okay, this is how I feel about that. Don't be afraid to change it. Also, the algorithm will keep bouncing you back up. The more you change out your photos, the more you change your prompts, and new people will see you. I think that's one thing that's really important to know. If you keep the same profile, people will still see it. They're like, oh, I've seen her a million times. If it changes, they'll see you through a different lens, right?
That's great.
Yeah. So we have to remember that, when you're creating a sales ad, we're typically marketing department is creating 5 different versions of that ad to appeal to that many different people. And it's all still you, right?
Right. Exactly. What's going to resonate with somebody isn't necessarily, what's going to resonate with someone else, but they're both good matches for you. Right.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I was going to say something, but I forgot. So go ahead. Let's hear. What's your prompt?
So why don't we start with the unusual skills prompt?
Okay.
Because I think that one is super difficult to answer.
Okay. What's the whole prompt? My unusual skill is?
Yeah.
Okay. So what makes that hard is that people are thinking in terms of, oh, what is unusual, right? What's something that's odd or weird or out of the ordinary, original, unique, and while we all think we're boring and the same and bland because we know us only, right, from the inside, other people don't have the same experience. So other people are going to hear what's something about you that might be totally normal to them or crazy to them, all based on their own life experience and, who they are, how they show up in life, So don't second guess yourself that well, it's not unusual. Everybody does this, right? Use that as an opportunity to think of something you love to do and maybe put like a fun spin on it, right? Doesn't have to be so crazy or so out there that nobody does it, so that's unusual, right? You just want to use it to like to tell something about you. And that important thing is, what's something that you love, or something that gives you a tickle, something that makes you laugh, or like I know Jolene loves like musicals. I hate musicals. When I am in front of people singing, I get so nervous. I don't even know what it is. Like Eric and I talk about all the time. It's a thing. I can't handle it.
That is funny.
I'm afraid they're going to mess up. Like karaoke is my nightmare. Oh my God. I can't even handle karaoke. Other
That
people
is
do.
so funny.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's hilarious. Yeah.
So yeah. So you could go into something like, your unusual skill is, getting front row seats at Les Mis every single year, or, you have this an in to how to get tickets, for
That's
shows.
a great one. Yeah.
If music is your thing, right? If musicals are your thing, if that's your thing, that's a way to say, here's my thing. And here's what I, have kind of dialed in about it. So
Yeah, like I love that. My most random skill. So the one that I just changed mine to that I thought was so good is holding the door open for strangers, even at super awkward distances. It's so good, right? And
totally.
everybody can relate with it, and it's authentic and true, and it says a lot without saying anything, right? And it's
Yeah,
one of those things that you stop on, you go, oh, swipe right, just because of that. Just
right.
because that one thing that a guy looks at and says, "Oh, that's pretty funny."
Yeah.
I do that
Yeah.
too, right?
It's very like, it's heart connecting. Like people can
Yeah.
relate because they've been there in that moment, and they're like, oh my God, I know I've been that person who's waiting while the other, or been the person walking to the door while they're holding it. Like it's so connecting, but it also really says like, oh, this is somebody who, thoughtfully thinks about other people, with no agenda, right? Like some people never hold the door and they don't even think
Right.
about it. It's not a slight to them. It's just not who they are, right? They're not thinking that way. So that immediately says, oh, this is someone who I can connect with because I get that. I know that. I do that. It's
Yeah.
a really good one. It's very cute.
It's very cute.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do another. So unusual skill. Let's do Ryan.
Ryan, oof, that's hard. Okay, let's see. Um, so, so he has like an eagle eye, like a true one.
Ooh,
Like
really?
he can see the most microscopic something on a floor, and it's like a superpower, right? It's so odd. And so I would say that would be something that would be really telling about who he is. He
Yes.
likes really, he can see every single, I don't know how I'd word it, but I have an eagle eye. I can see, even the smallest um speck of dirt on my floor and feel,
Right.
a compulsion to clean it immediately, right? And
Right.
that is something that is true, and it would tell you a lot about this person, and it might tell you a lot that you don't want to be with this person. You might be like, "Oh, I know what that looks like and I
Yeah.
don't want it," right? But it
Right.
also might tell you, we're the same kind of weird, right?
Right.
Like, I also don't understand why people can't see that little speck on the ground and have walked past it twice. So something cute like that, right?
Yeah.
Um, I'll- you
Yeah.
know,
So by the same token, I also have an eagle eye, or at least I used to before freaking menopause. But my thing was the ocean. Like if there is anything in the ocean, I can see it. And I don't know
that's
what it is.
wild.
Some kind of, I just have this connection that whenever I'm at the beach, I'm like, oh look, there's a that, there's a that, there's a that, there's a that. And Eric's like, can you see that? And it's like any animal, any, dolphin, a seal, anything that's out in the water, I'm like hyper focused on it, or I just notice it, it's
Yeah.
so that could be, my unusual skill is, my crazy eagle eye is constantly skimming the water for, and it probably comes from my shark phobia growing up, constantly skimming the water for shark fins, right? And then instead I see
Totally.
all the other stuff.
Right, right.
So it says, I love the beach. I go all the time. I appreciate nature, right? Like it puts you in a place. So then when that other person reads it, they might be laughing at my shark phobia, but they also know that like, oh, I'm at the beach and they can be there too, right? They can put
Right.
themselves in the scenario. So that's a good one. Eagle eye is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's do Eric really quick. I have not thought about this. So his unusual skill. So he has and so when we were first falling in love, he was raised Hindu by his non-Hindu hippie father. But he would tell him all of the Hindu stories. And so Eric has all of the stories. So like anytime is happening, he told this one story one time where he said, Krishna's mother was washing dishes or washing laundry, and Krishna came up to her, and she could tell he had something in his mouth, and so he said, open your mouth. And so when he opened his mouth, she looked in and she saw the entire universe, right? And I was like, that is sexy that that you just told me that. Like, so his unusual skill is, pulling Vedic scripture out of nowhere that applies to any moment at any time, right? Like, and
That's amazing.
That's his unusual skill.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a great example.
So yeah, who knows who that pulls to? I actually would want to add something to that so that it does shift it so that it is makes you smile, makes you wonder, that kind of thing.
Well, it also kind of anything that someone has to Google, in my opinion, is great, right? The more time you spend on that ad, you know, the better. The more you're going to talk yourself probably into it.
Yeah.
Versus I think that's another thing is the reason they have to be unique and different, right? Or not cookie cutter, right? Is that you've got to have someone stay on your ad for a minute
Yeah.
and
Right?
you need a hook. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so if
And
I saw, that I can tell you I've scanned through thousands of profiles and never would stop on something that said my unusual skill is I can at any time, connect a Vedic scripture story. I would immediately be like, I got to know more.
yeah. Right. Why?
Yeah.
How? What does that even mean? Yeah.
Right.
And that is it, right? You want to be intriguing and interesting, and just that moment where someone goes, oh, what's that? What is that? That's interesting. That's
Well, and then it makes you engage more organically like you would at the bar
yes.
because you're
Yeah.
genuinely curious versus you know what am I going to write? Hey, what's up? Hey, how are you? How's your weekend? How was your summer? Right now everybody's like, how was your summer? And it's because these profiles have nothing to connect to.
Right.
They have nothing interesting.
Yeah. There isn't even really a face. There's a photo. There's not even like a
Right.
person to ask a strange
Yeah.
question to, so
Yeah.
super
Yeah, that's great.
disconnected. And that's the gap we're trying to close here. Okay, what's another prompt that you like or use often that you find is got a lot of variable in it?
Um, anything. So, okay. So I think that one is good.
Maybe even one that's just that people answer, like you were saying, like just the same answers every time. What is a prompt where people give the same answer, and we could
Ooh,
make it
okay. The hallmark of a good relationship is.
okay.
That one is one of the prompts that I avoid the most for people, because all you ever see is honesty, trust, communication. And it
right.
is like snow or you know, it's
Right.
just like it's meaningless now, you know?
Totally. So I think that that is like a pitfall, right? Because now you're like putting expectations out on somebody. You're saying, do you measure up? Right? It's less playful. There's no room for playfulness in that, and it's putting it on the other person. Are you these things? Right? Because it's not really saying I'm these things. It's saying I want these things. Right?
Well,
So
and
that's
most people think they're honest,
yeah,
trustworthy, and a good communicator. So it
exactly.
doesn't,
Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
that sounds like me.
Yeah.
You know, you don't
Yeah.
find any of that. You don't know if someone's honest until you know them. You don't know if someone's trustworthy until you are in it, right? It's like you don't know these things
Yeah.
just because someone says it.
Yeah. Okay, I already even have one for that because this is us,
You
right?
do? Okay.
So okay, bear with me. The hallmark of a good relationship is you each fight to get out of bed first to make coffee for the other one,
That's so cute.
right?
Totally. Totally. It's so good.
Like that. It doesn't have to be, trustworthy, honest. That's like so playful and so like, oh wow,
So
this person
awesome.
does that for someone. Like that'd be amazing. I want to do that for someone too. Because a lot of people are like, well, I'm not making you coffee every day because then you're going to expect it, or I'm not going to be your slave, or they read into, and so if it's like who's both doing it, it's it just reframes that activity altogether. So
Totally.
yeah, what is another one you've seen for that, or how have you
Um,
that one if you do use it?
I don't. So I think um so I really haven't seen any great examples. That's a great example. I would think the hallmark of a good relationship. Okay, so like if I was doing it right, I could say is you know, I don't know. I don't know how I'd say it, but like all I keep thinking is like I like men who cook and
Hmm.
cook for me and feed me.
Hmm.
And I have a sign over my kitchen that says I kiss better than I cook. Right. And so I think for me, that would be like something I could work in that is true and authentic, you know,
Right.
um, I wouldn't want it to sound like, oh, I need you to cook for me. But, like I will, if you cook, the hallmark of a good relationship is, one person is, one person feeds, one person feeds you and the other kisses you or something like that. Right. Or I don't know, like I'd have to really play around with that, but
Yeah.
something that is, um, I don't know. I'd have to think about that a little harder.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe even something like, we'll trade um, amazing long kisses for steak dinners, something like
Totally.
that, where you're kind of
Exactly.
throwing that, trade off, right? Like,
Right.
um,
It doesn't have to answer the prompt perfectly either,
right.
right?
Right.
Like it's people get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And you could just say, hallmark of a good relationship for me is when someone cooks for me because I'm a terrible cook, right? Like that is a thing where some men are like, I am a great cook. I love cooking,
Right.
and to have someone to cook for, to be
In
able
my
to like,
experience, all men. I don't think I've
that's good.
I've never, so, when they all say, the men wants the woman that cooks for him, it's not been my experience.
That's great. That's great. Um, okay, let's do one more on that because I think that is when a lot of people, like you were saying, they use it and they use it wrong. Um, I think so. I like that prompt because it is an opportunity to create a vignette of what your relationship could look like. With the coffee in the morning, right? Like that to me. That's just become a hallmark of me and Eric's relationship. Is in fact, for us, it's different. For us, he gets out of bed and makes me coffee or tea every morning. And if I get up too early and try to do it, he comes running in and says, I'll do it. Get out of here. He kicks me out. So it's a little different, but it's like that window into what you feel is a great relationship, right? Like playfulness, uh, laughter, making fun of things, or having fun about something that's maybe not normally fun for people. And it's an opportunity to allow someone to see what a relationship with you could look like, I guess.
And I think you can go deep. It does not have to be super playful either. It can be, this is, I think, the hallmark of a good relationship to me is, when a couple is able to, invest time once a year, into their own private couples retreat where you reconnect and dig deep and evolve together, right? Like it
Yeah.
can be something better than just honesty, communication, and trust, right? You know,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
something like that,
It could even be something as simple as, rotating our favorite books up between each other, right?
I
For
love
for
that.
people who are like really, cerebral, who are intellectual, and they're like, I need you to read this book so that you get me, right? I need you, they communicate through books, right? Like, I think that that's a common thing. And that allows someone else to be like, oh, I love books. Like, I want a partner who reads,
Right,
who'll
right.
me read things I like or not like, or will read just to read it and see what it's about. They're not like, oh, I can't read. That's too much, So, um, so
I have a client right now that on hers, the hallmark of a good relationship is, and all of the men comment on it. Like they it's like of the things you can unhinge, you can make a comment on either a photo or a prompt.
right.
And so on hers, she says, the hallmark of a good relationship, I wish I had it handy, is, I am the ultimate teammate, cheerleader. I will, support you in everything, all of your biggest dreams.
That's
And the men go crazy for it.
Yeah, that's really great. That says to me so many things, right? It says, I'm not looking for you to make me happy. It's saying,
Yep.
I want to be happy about what you do. I want you to feel like, that to me too. I think that that's like a sign of love,
Yeah.
being a supportive of what they like, do, or care about is a true sign of like selfless love, So I think that's what men connect with. They want to be appreciated. That's a big one for all men. And what does that look like? Because for women, we don't we don't need to feel appreciated like men do. We have it sort of already there. We know life's, raising children is not about being appreciated. So we get that. But men feel like they need to be appreciated, or they want to be seen for what they do in a totally different way. And I think that statement says, I appreciate you and what you do, and I'm going to rally behind you and make sure you feel top, like up here with it. It's really
They
good.
love it. They love
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I mean, really, it's so good. But it does it's making me think too, a lot of these prompts, right? Where you do want some playful ones and you want some like, holding the, quirkiness, I hold the door open for people and I might stand there for 5 minutes and I get stuck holding the door open,
Yeah.
right? Like it's just funny and
Yeah.
relatable. But then also, um, there's a lot of there does tend to be a lot of here's what I want, here's what I think. And there isn't a lot of here's what I have to give to you, as
Yeah.
to whoever my new person is. And I think that taking that lens is really, like, taking that perspective and is really sharp and smart.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely
Think, can we
having
do one of those? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do a prompt with that kind of perspective.
Okay, cool. Throw the prompt.
I know. The one thing you should know about me is typical Sunday.
Both interesting.
Yeah, we could kind of do a
So I think
uh,
the one thing about me is that is definitely an easy one to turn into from an I thing about me to a how I show
to
up.
let's do that then. Yeah, because that's kind of cool, right? Because it's not because you probably would all think you need to know this about me.
Right,
So you would
right.
say it, but this is a nice play on that. Okay.
Yeah. Instead, you're saying, here's something that I do, or something here's how I show
Right.
up. Right.
Oh, this is good. Okay. Okay. Do you have
Yeah.
one?
No, not yet. Okay.
I know it's hard.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me the whole prompt again. I need the beginning.
Um, the prompt is the one thing you need to know about me is
Mm.
the one thing you should know about me is.
Um, yeah, I might have to be doing it for someone else. Um, okay, let's do Ryan. Um, so if Ryan were to say this, um, Ryan is the like, he's very cool and quiet. He comes off maybe even as like aloof and doesn't care. But I think that he doesn't let anyone in until he really cares. And I think that he cares very deeply and all the way. And I see that in your relationship. I see how
Cute.
he takes care of you um, from a very deep, you're all in kind of way. So my
Yeah.
my thing for him would be, yeah, the one thing that you should know about me is, you may not see um, a, a parade on the outside, but on the inside, I have your back in ways you didn't even think of.
Yeah.
Like he's a safety person, right? He thinks from terms of safety and emotional safety and physical safety, and you know, um, he's he's got your back.
I love that. That's so smart, right? The one thing you should know about me is if we were writing his, we would say, yeah, I like that safety take on it too, especially for women, uh,
Yeah,
wanting to feel that,
you're my
I
ultimate.
I provide, yeah, ultimately I feel my role is to provide emotional and physical safety within this relationship.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, women would be like, yes, yes, yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
think I think
awesome.
also, yeah, this is a really great segue into, men want to be appreciated, women want to feel safe, right? And so when
Yeah,
you're writing your prompts, who are you attracting, or what are you telling women? What are you telling men? You're telling them, I'm a good fit for you because I can do this or this or this for you, or because I show up this way in a relationship. And vice versa. It's like those things speak very deeply to women. I think that ultimately women want to feel safe enough in their relationship that they can let their guard down and be them, And while men might say the same thing, men's safety in a relationship to let their guard down is very different. It comes from a totally different place. So speaking to what those things are, realizing who's your reader, right? Who's reading um, this bio?
yeah. Like I was thinking, one thing you should know about me if I was doing it for myself. Right now, my profile says I am not a suburban lifestyle type of gal, right? um, but if I was doing it from the other perspective, I think I would shift it to, um, I well, the one thing you should know about me is my main goal in life is to make you feel comfortable, right? I want you to feel so comfortable so so you get to see, like, have your joy come to life, right? That's all
Yeah.
I want to do is see people in their like the most happiest
Yeah.
place.
Yeah. When you're happy, I'm happy.
Right. If
Okay.
you are happy, I am like, oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that would be I would answer it some way like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because there's so many different people out there. I mean, there's so many different types of people. There's so many different perfect relationships. Their perfect relationship is really different than their perfect relationship. Like, someone's perfect relationship could be, going out sailing on the water like every day, and you're right there with me, right? And someone else's is you're sitting on the couch next to me reading a book, or you know, I have my time, you know, every morning alone. And, in the evenings we connect, like it's just so different what is unique for you and unique for your right person. And so you really can't be afraid to kind of put it out there that you don't want to appeal to everybody. You don't want to be everybody's perfect person. You're not casting a wide net in order to find your one fish. You're casting a small net on a small group of people so that you guys can connect together. And I think a lot of times dating app prompts, we try to like say something fun and witty and cute that makes you feel attractive to everybody, just in case.
Right.
But we've learned with a lot of our clients, the sooner they get granular on who they really are and how they want to portray themselves on an app, the cleaner and the better matches come. And um, and they get on dates. They meet someone that they really like. So I think that's why people don't like apps, is because they feel like they have to cast this giant net and be something for everybody. And everybody is liking all of them just in case. I mean, let's just see if they're interesting to talk to, instead of being more selective, um, and not just taking on anybody,
Well,
just in case.
that's why I think Match.com is still doing so well,
Mm-hmm.
because on Match.com you can put your whole life story, and if you're really being thoughtful of dating, I have a client right now that, we read every single of these gentlemen's profiles, and it's so awesome to get this cool story. One of the gentlemen today, he is an orthopedic surgeon. He divorced and retired and then moved to Montana to be closer to family, and realized I do not like not being productive. So then he moved back, and now he's working part-time again as a surgeon. He just
Wow.
and you and there's something so cool because you get to tell that story. And I get that the prompts don't really allow for that. But to kind of spin off what you were saying is, yes, it is. How it's, at the end of the year, Spotify gives you your, like, here's what you listen to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I want people to be able to go through their own, like, dating. Here's what my dating year looked like, right?
Mm.
I went on, 6 dates, you know, three of them went to second dates, and and this is how I felt, right? And they were really good options. I really think we need to step away from 50 to 100 dates. Why do you need to meet four people this weekend? Why do you
Yeah.
need to double up, two on Saturday and two on Sunday? Right?
Wow.
It is intense, and it's crazy. It's crazy making,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I think that narrowing down, saying what you want. I really appreciate when I see profiles that people say, ethical non-monogamy. They're like, this is me. So you know right away, am I a match for it or not? No one's wasting any time.
Right.
A lot of things you'll see that with political, you know, no MAGA. Perfect. Let's just move on. Right.
Right.
So I'm not a big proponent of the negative, but I am about like saying what is so attract
Yeah.
someone that's right for you and you're right for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that's what the prompts are for, right?
Yeah.
If your prompt is, I'm going to look it up real quick because there's one example. If you're, my simple pleasures, this is one, you know, everybody kind of gives a lame response, right?
Yeah.
Going to the beach, live music, laughing, right?
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
it's either don't use that prompt or come up with something that says something about you, and and people don't get that. They're like, but it's true, I do love the beach and I do love live music and I do like laughing.
Mhm.
Sense of humor is so important to me, but it's not going to stop someone in their tracks to want to meet you.
Yeah.
So how do we say something about laughing and laughter and sense of humor, right? That's true, that's going to make someone engage with you, or that maybe it's not even an issue, maybe that laughter, let that occur on the date. That's not
Yeah.
what this is, right?
Yeah. Right. Any great examples of my simple pleasures are?
This one's really hard for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So my instinct on that is, you know, think of a time in your life, daily life, look back on the last month when you know, laughed really hard or felt like a little bit selfish with like your time, right? Like for instance, I I really love true crime on TikTok. I don't have a lot of time to do it, but I really love like my spooky scary story time with Ashley. Like I love it. And and I don't care what anyone's doing and I don't care if they can hear it. I don't care. I just want to watch it and I want to binge them all that she's done in the last weekend, right? It's so
It's
stupid.
cute.
But it's like that kind of feeling where you're like, oh, my little secret thing that I do that's like feels so fun. And I don't know if that's necessarily a good one, doesn't say the best thing about me, but it's something like that. Or getting on the phone with my sister after a long day at work where we just, laugh at all the stupid stuff that happened. Like
Yeah.
that's one of those things that like a little bit of a peek into, oh, she has a great relationship with her sister, or brother or cousin or, old boss, like so many those relationships that are like unique or interesting, a simple pleasure also can be, like I said, something that makes you laugh really hard, something that um I do love my hot yoga, and I love it because it's like a drug. you know
Yeah.
because it's like so hard and makes me like angry at the same time and I can't not go, it's like that kind of feeling. And so it it's not that you want to talk about the hot yoga so much as it is, I love when I get to just shut the world off and be in the hot room and struggle with myself for an hour, right? Like, oh,
Right.
that's what I need. Um,
Yeah,
likewise,
like saying it like that is so good.
yeah, not just like, oh, I love hot yoga, right? But
Right.
the thing about it that that
Right.
is like little secret pleasure, so maybe it could be
And you do
secret.
it.
Mm,
Well, and you have to get you creative with the words, like you said, and that struggle with myself. That was powerful. That's going to
mm,
make me stop and read.
yeah,
Um, like,
yeah,
what is that? What is that word?
yeah,
I think anytime we can really use great language to depict something, the better. Again, you want them to stop.
yeah,
You
yeah.
want to open up a loop in their mind they cannot close without learning more.
That's great. Yeah, yeah. A question. Hey,
It's
wait,
not
what?
mine, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, really? And then
No, yeah, it's
that's good.
it's so good in dating, right?
Yeah. 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 And yeah. And when we say, create a hook, it's not, suspense or an unknown it's actually so much of a deep known that somebody notices the authenticity. They notice in what does that really mean? What's happening underneath that? It's something that makes them stop for a second and wonder about you. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
So what
because
I would do is, yeah, what I would do is write out an answer to every single prompt, and really sit down as an exercise and do it and think about it. I think
yeah.
that's going to be the way that you start to unearth
Yeah.
more interesting ways of delivering or thinking or feeling or seeing, and then when you go, the bonus is when you go on a date, you will also have all of these ways to discuss, share who you are or what you want to know about someone as well, because you would have
Yeah.
done this exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's great because when you go on a date, you do end up being a little bit like timeliney in your who am I? Oh, I moved here and then I moved here and I got a job there and I did, and you just tell a timeline of yourself. You don't really like go deep down in and tell little vignettes of your life, you know. And I know a lot of people feel the apps are too they're too disconnected to get deep on, and so they don't get deep, and that is the problem with apps. So getting to that place where you're sharing something that's interesting about yourself and doesn't have to be painful, difficult, or vulnerable, but is deep enough that it's connected. People can connect to it.
To-
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah. So um yeah, change the way everybody shows up on these apps, and it'll change everything for everyone. That's what I
Yeah,
think.
and keep rotating them out and keep improving them as well.
Yeah, going in, and
Yeah.
yeah, and absolutely, the algorithm loves when you make a change. So just if there's anything you take away from this, tweak often. Once a week, go in there and change something out. Have, like Jillian said, have those prompts kind of already answered, and then you can swap out a prompt here and there, so it's totally different. And
Yeah,
it'll
you'll start to see what pulls, you because the people show up differently, with a good answer and a good prompt. They engage at a really higher level, and
Mhm.
so you do have to test things out, like try it, see what pulls. I don't know how else to
Yeah.
say it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that everybody on the apps is just swiping through photos. And while a photo will catch their attention right away, that is definitely not what most people, hit the like button for. They're all digging in deeper and looking for something of substance. So if you give it to them, they will connect, and you'll get a connection that way. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Okay. I love it. That was really fun and challenging.